Hi everybody, welcome to our podcast. So this podcast is on cybersecurity again, but today we're talking more about how to better protect yourselves against cybersecurity. So I'm Rob Burrell, Sales Director at Axon.
And I'm Tim Mears, Managing Director at Axon.
Morning Tim.
Morning.
So this podcast we're talking about how to better protect yourselves. So in the previous podcast we were talking about the actual types of cyber attacks and hackers out there. But today it's more about how businesses can protect themselves and importantly protect their users, because it's often the user that is the weak link in an actual cyber attack. So we're talking about things that we've done for our customers in terms of the Microsoft license features. That there's a plethora of security features in Microsoft license, and we help protect our customers against malware, phishing, spam, safe links, safe attachments, and we wrap services around them. We want to talk about the sort of the risks out there to actual users.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think that cybersecurity, it's, well, my antivirus does that. Well, no, your antivirus is one element to it, and there's a lot of different layers and added services that you can put within your system to protect you. And I think a lot of people don't either understand it or know that they're available. And I think the best way that it was sort of described to me is that you've got your house, and we all have a house with, you know, our valuables in there and our precious items, and your business is no different, but ultimately the actual value in that is the data that you have in that business. But if we take the analogy of your house, you know, we all put burglar alarms on our houses. Yeah, that's a deterrent. And then you might take it to the next level, and you might have a security company come around and drive around every 3 hours. Okay, or you might buy a dog, might buy a Rottweiler. That's another further deterrent. Or you may build a moat around your house, and you know, it's further and further these security elements on it. Great. The only problem is, if somebody opens the door and leaves it open of your house, they're irrelevant. Absolute waste of time. And this is what happens. A lot of people, they understand that they put all these security features or technology features within their business, but then forget about the end user, i.e. the employee. And I think something, I did read a stat, something like 82% of all hacks are initiated through end user error, which is phenomenal. And I think that's one of the key areas that people, it's that end user education around security. That's not to say you don't do all the other security features which are available to you, but it's to what level, or what, you know, if we all had unlimited budget for cybersecurity in every business, though, great, but we haven't. Businesses haven't got that. So it's to what level of budget against features has you got, and that's where people need to sort of understand. But the biggest one that I would employ every business owner to think about is employee education, because if you stopped 82% of all threats coming into your business through employee education, that's a massive step towards protecting yourself against cybersecurity. So that's the big one for me.
Yeah. So there's things that the business themselves can do. There's things that technology managed service providers like we can do. But of course, it's what you're saying is there's also the actual user in the business and training them to actually better protect themselves.
If we're honest, the biggest threat for cybersecurity in your business today is your staff. They are, I'm going to call it the first line of defense, because if anything goes, most hacks now are initiated through email. Now we could have another argument and have an argument or a conversation around should businesses be using that email nowadays. You know, our technical director would say nobody should be using email.
Yeah.
realistically, you know, email has been around for how many years it is now, and everyone's so used to it, and it's ingrained in all our businesses at the moment. I think email usage will go down over time, and I think as the emergence of IMs and other way of communication and the new generation come through, I think email will decrease. But email is the biggest problem for cybersecurity, because that is the method of how hackers are initiating most of their attacks. So if a staff member is ill-informed or ill-educated, and they see that they've missed a parcel delivery from DPD, but they've never used DPD, and they go, oh, I wonder what that is, and click a link, you know, that is a problem. So I would say, for me personally, the first thing that every business should be doing is educating. And I always use the analogy is, if I had a new forklift truck driver, would I just let him loose the first day without any training on or instruction? No, but we feel at the moment that it's fine to do it with a, you know, let an employee loose on a computer. Mm-hmm. Well, historically maybe, but there are threats to that now. We live in this SaaS cloud connected world, and I don't think a lot of people are doing it. Yeah,
and certainly, as we talked about briefly in other podcasts, the pandemic and the remote working, the hybrid working has increased the need for us to actually protect our users.
It sort of removed that when people are in an office, you know, in previous worlds, you always see an email comes through, somebody pops around, this email looks a bit dodgy, what do you think? And everyone gathers, yeah, that looks, don't click that, you'll be in trouble if you click that. But now people are working at home. So they're sat at home going, oh, should I click it, should I not click it? Oh, I'll just click it, what can it do? And then once they're done, they're off. Yeah, you know, it's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah, and staff moving about as well. At the minute, as I think as you mentioned in the previous podcast, that people are quicker to move at the minute. So companies have got new starters. Yeah. Those people, they might be tech savvy, but they still need to be educated quickly.
And there's simple things, yeah, you know, hovering your mouse over an email. Does it look is it from a trusted domain, or does it look strange Facebook but it's coming from a Yahoo or a Gmail? Well,
yeah, is the URL okay?
Yeah, they're just really simple little things that people don't know. And I think that we do a staff, it's an education program where we'll actually send dummy hacking emails out.
Yeah, simulated attacks on staff.
Yeah, and see, and then it's interesting, the first time we do it to a business, it's something ridiculous, like 70% actually click on links. Yeah. But then it's actually the education, and then we send them on to do a training program online, this is what to look out for. Yeah. Just, it's a constant development and constant education process. And over time, we had one customer, didn't we, that was about 80% click rate, and then within 12 months it was down at 6%.
Correct, yeah.
Well, suddenly you've just put a massive defence against cyber attack, sorry. Yeah. Getting the words right.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's looking at things like, say, hovering over the URLs. Do you recognise the sender in the first place? Does the branding look pixelated? So it could be, you know, could have been copied in. Yeah. Are some of the letters different, maybe from a different language or different size to other letters? So it's simple things. You know, spelling and grammar is often, I know they're getting more sophisticated, but check spelling and grammar on these. So there's lots of things we can do to help in terms of educating the actual end user.
And then in the background as well, I'd also suggest you start looking at some of the security features which are included or add-ons into the Microsoft product world. So ATP, you know, I know you're a big fan of ATP.
Yeah, or Defender for Office 365 as it's now called. So that's key, and as I mentioned earlier, we configure the baseline securities for all our customers with the relevant license so that they're better protected. And then when we add in things like the simulated awareness training, so multiple things obviously help reduce attacks.
And I'm right in saying that they still call it the detonation chamber that emails go into?
I believe so. It's above me, that one. Okay, so to summarise, so we've talked in previous podcast about the types of attacks, who maybe the attackers are. In this one, we've talked about how to better protect users, but I think the key messages are, look at things like even things like, do you check your backups? Do you test backup and DR? Because if you do get attacked, then you need to know that you've got backup, you can get your data back. But security awareness for your users is key, and then certainly in our case, in our business, making sure that the features in the Microsoft license, security-wise, are configured to better help.
Yeah, I think we're in a lot. It's not all doom and gloom. I think we're in a better position than we were many years ago. With the movement towards cloud products and the Microsoft 365 stack, there's a lot of security features which are out the box, which are enabled in there. So I think just by taking that decision to move cloud, to move Microsoft 365, etc., is putting better protection than it was when we were back in the having servers on-prem without those. So I think we're taking it, but this is a real constant evolvement. There's a constant development. We just need to keep on moving. You can't. Security is not done in one day. This is a constant evolution to stay one stage ahead of the hackers. So yeah, we need to do that.
Okay, great. Thanks, Tim. Thanks everybody for watching.